It's so quiet, man. We're taking a look today at the Spitfire 1X Prism scope from Vortex. Got this in from Optics Planet to do a review for you guys today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this scope. And I'll tell you that a lot of you guys are going to be really interested in this scope. For one, right off the bat, the price point is on target with this scope, pun intended. It is about $199 from Optics Planet right now. But if you use the DocTacDad5 coupon code, you get 5% off there at Optics Planet. There's a link down below. If you guys are interested, you can kick on over to Optics Planet and pick it up. But I'll tell you guys, this scope is pretty dang cool. There's some upsides and some downsides to it. It's a little bit different than your typical red dot scopes, and we'll go into the differences here in just a minute. But first, let's take some shots at 100 yards. I've got it mounted right now on my CZ Scorpion Evo 3. This is a pistol. We are running the Silencer Co. hybrid suppressor. We're going to be shooting 147 grain bullets. These ones are from Browning, and they tend to go right at the supersonic subsonic limit, so they're not the quietest rounds, but we'll take some shots and see if we can connect. We're going to be shooting at the G3 target, okay? It's the 12-inch gong that G3 sent me to do a review for you guys. Really excellent target. We'll do a review on that here very soon. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can connect, okay? And we'll see if we can connect on that 12-inch plate at 100 yards with this pistol. Just using a cheek weld here. Oh yeah! Oop, pulled that one. Pulled that one to the left. That one's a good one, I felt that. Yeah! You guys are hearing some of the supersonic crack from those 147 grainers. It's a little chillier out here, and so because of the cold air, it just tends to be right at that supersonic barrier. But we'll shoot some 147 grain Remingtons, and you'll see how quiet this can actually be. There we are. Oh, I shanked that one. There. We'll end on a hit there for a second. So one of the key features about the Spitfire, and something that a lot of you guys are going to be interested in, is the fact that it is more like a traditional hunting scope. So like a scope that you'd find on a bolt gun. The reticles or the glass or the prism on the inside of those hunting scopes are etched, okay? So they're like ground out. And because of that, you can actually see the reticle on those scopes without the need of electronics, okay? So you don't need any battery power or anything running in order to see the reticle on the inside of the Spitfire. And that's really cool, especially for those of you guys that are out there looking for an optic, especially like a tactical style optic that gives you the ability to not have to run electronics or batteries. That being said, the Spitfire also offers illumination, okay? You can get red or green illumination on the reticle itself as well. So it acts kind of similar to a red dot. We'll talk about the difference here in just a bit, but you have the ability to run it without any electricity during the day, but at night you can run it with illumination off of the battery. And I think it's a 2032 you know, like quarter style battery, coin size battery on the inside there as well. So actually battery life on the Spitfire is decent. The lowest illumination level, which, you know, at night, which would be plenty, is the 3,000 hour range. Now on max illumination, it's going to be about 250 hours. So you will burn through a battery pretty quick if you're running at the maximum illumination. You don't really need to, because max illumination on this thing is very, very bright. We just did some pheasant hunting over the weekend. We just killed a bunch of birds, and as I was hunting, I actually thought about this optic, thinking that it'd be a really great shotgun optic. The reason why is because the open field of view that this offers, because it's a little bit larger diameter tube, it doesn't give you that claustrophobic feeling that you get with a lot of the smaller red dots out there, or smaller scopes. And so you get a greater field of view, but one of the cool things about it is the Drt Reticle, or the dual ring tactical reticle. And what it does is it offers a broader aiming point, okay, but also gives you that pinpoint accuracy in the center of the reticle. You have a 3 MOA dot in the center, but you have progressive rings or dual rings as well on the outside. And as a shotgun optic, I think those rings would really make a huge difference for those that are going to be running this on a shotgun. Really, really nice optic for that. Adding to the fact that this has a really nice open sight picture because of the larger diameter tube, you get really clear glass with the Spitfire. Vortex has done a really good job with the clarity of the scope, and it's also a fully multi-coated lenses on the inside. So you get a lot less bleed of the light, and it adds a lot more to the depth of colors as well as the clarity of the glass. The Spitfire here. Sweet, didn't end on a miss. Zoom you back out here. Now, one of the things negative, okay, let's talk about a couple of the negatives of this scope, all right? And that is that it has an illuminated reticle, okay, but it's different than that of a red dot. A red dot uses a projected beam on the inside that allows you that gives you the reticle, right? And because of that, it doesn't really matter where your head is necessarily in relation to that dot, because it's kind of parallax free. And what parallax is, without getting too technical, is that if I move my head back and forth behind this reticle, it's going to shift my point of aim a little bit, and it has to do with perspective. So if I'm looking at the crosshairs from a right-sided perspective, I'm going to see that crosshair is kind of more directed on the left side of the target, and vice versa for that, okay? And so you do get parallax. You suffer from some parallax with the Spitfire, where you won't with most typical red dots, okay? And so that is a somewhat of a negative. However, on paper, that seems like a lot more of a negative than it is in actual practical use. And the reason why I say that is because this is a non-magnified optic. It's a 1-power scope. So you're not going to be really shooting out to super long distances with this scope. You're looking maybe 200 yards. And you know, from 200 yards or less, you're really not going to, even if your head is not completely directly behind that reticle, you're not going to miss a ton at close in distances. And so, you know, you're really going to notice parallax when you're shooting out at a lot further distances, and you're really just not going to do that with this particular style scope. And you know, as long as you are being consistent with your cheek weld and getting pretty well directly behind that scope, you're not going to have an issue with it. And so parallax is definitely still present. It's definitely a negative with the scope. It's not a super huge negative in my opinion, practically speaking, but it's definitely there. And so it differs that way than your typical red dot scope. Now another thing that this scope is not going to do well with is that of magnifiers. You're not going to be able to use a magnifier behind this scope. And the reason why that is again, that parallax is definitely going to come into play with this scope. And so magnifiers just do not work with this scope. And if you hear people say that they do, they're fooling you. Because really magnifiers just don't work. Whew. Oh man, I did shoulders at the gym. Shoulders and upper back. My freaking shoulders are sore, man. That's the excuse I'm giving. I would say also another negative about this scope is the fact that you cannot co-witness this scope with your iron sights. And what I mean by that, there's going to be people that are going to misunderstand me. You can, if you can see your iron sights through the scope, you can still use your iron sights through the scope, okay? That's not what I'm talking about when I say co-witness. What I mean by that is that if you have your iron sights set, you can't just take the reticle and move it in alignment with your iron sights, okay? It's not going to work that way because of that parallax. Again, that parallax is going to give a different perspective than what you're going to be using with your irons. And so you can't just zero your scope using your iron sights and vice versa, okay? So it doesn't co-witness, true co-witness with your iron sights. But you can still use your iron sights through the scope, which is how I typically use my iron sights. I will typically zero my irons and zero my optic completely separate of each other. In that way, I know that the zeros for both are good and good to go. So to me, it's not that big a deal, but it will not co-witness with your iron sights like a typical red dot will. Yeah, nice. Now this is not the lightest optic out there. You're looking at 11.2 ounces with this scope. So it's not the lightest, it's not the heaviest, okay? I will say that one of the benefits that you get with this scope is you get huge robustness. This scope is built. It's built really well. It's not gonna be a fragile scope. It's waterproof, it's fog proof, they do nitrogen purging on it, and it is shock proof. So you can use it on pretty much anything. You can use it on a shotgun, you can use it on a heavy recoiling rifle, those things. It's not a fragile scope. So, and in that way, that's a really, really nice thing about it. So with the weight, you're getting some robustness. Now, what you're also getting with Vortex name, okay guys, and this is something that I have personal experience with, is that Vortex stands by their products, okay? So this has the Vortex VIP warranty, which pretty much means accidental, intentional. I mean, it doesn't really matter how you damage it. You can send it back and they will repair it for you or replace it. Personally, I've had Vortex scopes that I've had to send back for issues, and they have literally just sent me a brand new optic with all of the original paperwork, all the original components with it, no questions asked. So for sure guys, Vortex stands by their products, and with this you're getting Vortex awesome warranty, which is pretty much industry leading. So you can pretty much buy with confidence without any problems that way. So, but I can honestly say that I've had zero problems with this, and I've had this on 3 different guns, and I've probably put, I don't know, maybe 500-600 rounds downrange with this optic on top, and I have had zero issues with it. So, all right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the things you get with the scope. Now, it comes, as you see it right here, with these pop-up caps, which are really nice. It keeps the optic clean. You can rotate them and change the orientation with them however you want, and they do come off fairly easily. You have a focal adjustment right here for your reticle, but it slides right on there. Both of them do the same thing. One thing I really like about this is that you have these tethered caps, okay? So you have the safety wire here that's tethering. Let me see if I can get it off. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. My hands are freezing. They tether the caps right there. And you can see that the adjustments here are 1 MOA adjustments, and they're very precise. They click very, very nicely. You have a little tab on the top part of the lens cap. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. And you can turn the cap around and use the cap to adjust your turrets, just like that. And I love the fact that they are tethered, so you don't have to worry about losing them in tall grass in the field if you have to make quick adjustments. Now, one of the cool things about the illuminated reticle on the inside is the fact that you can use it as a green reticle or a red reticle. Another really cool thing is you can see that here on the Scorpion I have the low mount on there, okay? But you can literally easily switch out and use the taller mount, which comes with the scope itself. So you can run it on the AR. This is really designed to work well on the AR platform. So it comes with a tall mount as comes with a short mount. They're both built in. You just remove a piece in the center and you're good to go. This optic works really, really well. I was worried when I first got it that the parallax was going to give me problems, but as you can see, guys, shooting with just a cheek rest, okay, cheek weld off of the Shockwave blade, I'm connecting pretty consistently at 100 yards on a 12-inch plate. So that's pretty good. And I've just really enjoyed this optic on this particular firearm. It's really awesome. So it's not coming off of my Scorpion anytime soon, that's for sure. Alright guys, so some final thoughts on the Spitfire Prism Scope from Vortex. The price point is awesome. So for less than 200 bucks, you're getting a really robust scope, one that has great glass, great clarity, an open sight picture. You have the etched reticle, so you have the ability to shoot without having to use your batteries. Okay, so during the day you don't need batteries at all, but it does have the illumination option at night, decent battery life, red or green reticles. Okay, so that's really nice. The fact that it's really well built. It's a great robust scope. I love the DRT, the dual ring tactical reticle on the inside. I think it'd be a great optic for shotguns. I think it'd be it's a great option for tactical style firearms like ARs, the CZ Scorpion, what have you. But I think it also would be a great optic for short range hunting as well. So if you're going to be using it on a 22 or something that you're going to be hunting bunnies with, or even close in coyotes, something like that, I think it'd also be a really great option. And the other thing you don't have to worry about is you don't have to worry about your batteries dying on the hunt. Okay, so you don't have to worry about your reticle going out. So it's not like a typical red dot. The downsides though, guys, is you have parallax, which for me, again, from a practical standpoint with this type of non-magnified scope, I don't think parallax is a huge problem, but you do have parallax, you do have eye relief, you have to kind of be squared behind it. You can't use a magnifier with it, and it doesn't do a typical co-witness that you do with like a red dot scope. You can, again, still use your iron sights through the scope, you just can't co-witness the reticle from the inside of the scope with your irons. So if you guys understand those few drawbacks to the scope, I think it's an excellent optic. And I don't really see a whole lot of scenarios where you can't use this optic. And so because of that, I think for the price point, for the robustness, and for the fact that you can use this infinitely without any battery, I think it's a really great option. I think a lot of you guys will really enjoy this scope. So if you guys are interested, again, use the code DocTacDad5 at Optics Planet to get 5% off this scope. If you guys do Instagram, you really need to follow me on Instagram. For those of you guys that do follow me on Instagram, you've already seen this setup here previously. So go ahead and hit me up at DocTacDad there on Instagram. There's a link down below. You guys can go hit me up there. If you guys have any questions or comments about anything you've seen in the video, leave it in the comment section down below. I'll try to get back to you. I really appreciate you guys liking and commenting on the video, as well as subscribing to the channel. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you guys next video. See ya.